Call to order Rankin City Council meeting, August 26th. Madam Clerk, the roll call, please.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Underwood.
Here.
Councilmember Blackwell.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Exley.
Here.
Councilmember Riley. Here.
All right, tonight's invocation is going to be given by Pastor Rick Johnson with St. John's Lutheran Church. Please remain standing for the pledge after our invocation.
Our text is from James 1, verses 24 and 20, or 23 to 25. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. And where I'm going with this is, our Lord, when asked what the two greatest commandments were, he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, all your mind. Love your neighbor as yourselves. We understand that commandment to love neighbor. And as Christians, do we do that? Or are we the man who looks at himself in the mirror, when he walks away, forgets who he is, doesn't remember his own image? When people see us, do they hear love neighbor as self and see that in our actions? Or is there a divide? And can we pray for the unity of purpose and spirit to guide us? Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we ask that you give us purpose of unity in spirit. Give us unity of thought and action. Help us to soothe our spirits with comfort of being able to take what we know is right and then to do what is right in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Johnson. Appreciate it. So we're gonna, there's a motion in order to approve tonight's agenda, but that will be, removing the consent item number 1 and new business number 8. Yes, sir.
We're removing it?
Yes, just,
Make a motion to approve the amended agenda with item 1 and 8 removed.
Second.
got a motion by Ms. Riley, a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll also move to approve the minutes from the August 12th, 2024 meeting. Does anyone have any issues with that? Go through it.
Move we accept.
Second?
Got a motion by Ms. Underwood, second by Ms. Riley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Guys, tonight, we should make sure that we read this each time, that public comments shall pertain to agenda items only. Should you wish to appear before council, forms can be found at Rankin City Hall. Before we get started, we want to recognize our hero of the month. Tonight's hero, guys, is our prior mayor, Mr. Ken Lee. Please stand with me in congratulating Mr. Lee for his longtime service with our city. Mr. Scott will be presenting. Mr. Lee, if you could come on up.
Good evening. Good evening. Gives me a pleasure, a great opportunity to stand here to make this presentation to this individual. serving as mayor, the professionalism, his leadership, and the integrity that he brought to this department, this mayor seat of the city of Lorraine. And I think it's a hard one because it's some 20-some years walking up and down the road with him, going through some troubles, hard nights. And if anyone here could remember the city of Lorraine 20 years ago, you would appreciate it. We just hope that this council can move forward and achieve what the past has done, because that's all about leadership when you in council seat. It's not about the ones that did before you, but can you do or make what they've done a lot better? And that's what it's all about. That's leadership. Taking pride in those that have gone before you, our ancestors, and being able to build off of that. So, Mayor Lee, for your years of service, for providing thoughtful guidance and inspiration, excellence. Thank you for leadership, for your leadership, honor, commitment, and integrity for your service from 2006 to 2024. Thank you.
Hurt somebody with that. I want to, first of all, thank the citizens of the city of Rankin for allowing me the privilege, and I mean that sincerely, privilege, of serving as your mayor for the last 19 years. I want to thank the council members and the city staff that I've been honored to serve with. And I hope and I pray that our city is better today because of the things that we've done over the last 19 years. And I want to thank you again for allowing me to be a part of that. It's been my honor. Thank you.
At this time, I'm gonna turn the meeting over to the public hearing officer, Mr. Bobo.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will open up the public hearing on the 2024 millage rate for the city of Rankin. And I believe Ms. King is prepared to say a few words on that subject.
I hope I can do it justice. This is the millage rate that we do every year around this time. Our millage for this year is 6.081, and we roll that back to 0. I'm sorry, any questions?
I don't think there'll be too many questions without me.
Having given the public an opportunity to speak and hearing nothing further, that will close this public hearing.
All right, we'll go to, there's some old business here. Number one, we're requesting approval to pay Corcat $203,233.68 for Patriots Park playground equipment and installation. We tabled that on August the 12th. And I think Ms. Lewis, we were requesting maybe someone from Corcat come before council.
Yes, and so they have, they're willing to get on a call and talk, but it's I think 6-hour drive for them, so they're requesting to not be here in person. The other portion of that is council had asked about having the playground inspected, so I talked to our contact at EOM, and he said that they would not do that. There's too much of a liability because they weren't involved from the beginning. He did, tell me that I could reach out to a certified playground inspector that's certified by the state. I reached out to one in Savannah because they have them all over the state. I have not heard back from her yet, but that would be probably, our best options to have it inspected would be to go through somebody like that. And again, and they may or may not be willing to do it since they weren't involved from the
From
beginning.
the beginning.
Okay, so do we table this? Should we table this?
Patrick's next.
Come on up, Patrick.
Before we take away, I make the recommendation that we make them come, because from the time that they started, I feel like we shouldn't wait on them and let them get on the call. They need to come here and explain, one, why it took them so long, two, all the issues that have been had with it. From a resident's perspective, I feel like they need to come here and explain themselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, you're talking about
Patrick was,
6 hours?
Yeah, you're dealing with a $300-some-thousand project.
Yeah,
And
they
you're
need to
talking
be-
about 6 hours.
The other thing I wanted to say is they did ask if there was a possibility of them receiving 90% and retaining 10%.
No, they need to come before council, and I believe this whole council agrees that that's what they should do. So I would just, say we table this until they can be at one of our meetings. It's important that they be here. It's important that they discuss why it took so long, and then why it was, in the shape that it was in.
Yeah, we've requested them to come before for other, issues during the construction phase, as Mr. Kirkland, mentioned it, and they never showed up. They said they would send somebody, and no one ever showed up, so.
And let's be clear, this is the
Yeah.
same company that incorrectly installed playground
Yeah.
equipment.
And had it.
6 hours, not that far for that kind of money.
No.
So,
Okay, so I make a motion, we table it.
well, we just don't remove it from the table, right?
Yeah.
One could move to table it to the next meeting.
Table it to the
be
next
further
meeting.
discussed,
Okay, all right,
if you're not gonna address it
okay.
today.
I got a motion from Ms. Taylor to table it. I got a second by Mr. Scott to table to the, next council meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving into, new business. New business item number 1, Stephanie Mont,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yep.
Request to appear before council. Come forward.
This is my first council meeting, so you just tell me what I need to do right. So I am here on behalf of starting the Rincon Farmers Market. We have joined hands with Coastal Green Space Guardians, so they will be kind of our umbrella company. So we'll be going through them for all of the business structuring. So really, the only thing that I need some help with is the location. I have spoken with a couple of people at the Rincon Rec Department, and the rates are a little fuzzy. What he did quote me today was about $400 for the rental of Freedom Park or Patriot Park, but I was gonna see if there was a way, since we'll be there every weekend, that we could have a reduced rate, or if there's a way with the collaboration of the city. I'm not sure what the options are there, but I was gonna see, what we could do to maybe do like a per vendor. When I spoke with Miss Shannon at the rec department, that was kind of something she mentioned, was potentially, instead of doing a flat rate, go at like a sliding scale where the city accepts a certain percentage of the market fees, and it's based on how many vendors actually show up. That way we're not trying to pay $400 and only have 10 people. So I wasn't sure if that's something you guys need to discuss. I also have it's kind of lengthy, it's an 8-page proposal for what we're doing in the farmer's market that I can hand out if you guys need to review it, kind of look over, and then get back to me. I'm not sure the
I would
process.
like that.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, we are.
I do have a question. Is there a business associated with this farmer's market?
It's gonna be through Green Space, so it doesn't have any kind of,
They're a 501c3.
yes, ma'am, that would be their service, yes.
Well, this is a service for the community.
Yes.
In my opinion, the fee should be waived.
The fee, that's what I was gonna say, the
It
fee
should
should
be
be
none.
waived on that,
Right.
and I,
That's the norm when we have a
Yes.
503, group. for council to use anything, yeah.
And I believe that Patriots Park would probably not be a good place to.
Well, parking would be limited.
That was gonna
Park will
be my
lit,
next
and how you
option.
turn and get out of there.
Right.
You know, probably Freedom Park would be the best thing, and there's plenty of room.
And it
separate
has
out.
power, so
Yes.
what we would like to do, if you do, can I pass these out now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we'd like to do a second Saturday event with live entertainment and some food trucks. One of the components that we did come into with the Green Space Guardians is there has to be an educational component. We really wanna stress the link between agriculture. Effingham is based and loves agriculture, that's our heritage. So we wanna lean into that with the farmer's market, with having a monthly theme for the kids to do, so projects for them to do hands-on, learning about pollination, how food is grown, and then have an educational table there. We'd also like to have more than produce vendors, so it could include makers as well, like myself, I'm traveling outside of Effingham County just to go to markets and I sell soap and sustainable goods, and I'm like, we really gotta do something. I'd love to stay within my community and keep all of that here. So that is something that we'd like to include, is not just produce, but also makers, homestead themed items, and then once a month have the food truck vendors, and some entertainment portions.
So this would be a once a month event.
So I'd like to see it weekly with a once a month big event, and that would be the one with the live music. It would be a lot to do every week, but I would like people to still have access to the fresh produce farmers, because they have, their goods expire every week. They need to be able to have somewhere consistent to sell, and I think that's where a big problem, and I spoke with First Baptist Church, and they said they just haven't been able to get consistent produce vendors, and I was like, well, that's partly because you're not offering a consistent place for them to want to come. In the proposal, I have all the local markets, how much they charge, their hours, the day that they're going, based on Facebook groups. Everybody wants to have either a Saturday morning or a Saturday evening event. We were thinking Saturday evening and kind of let it be like a date night, kind of get out of the house, evening, especially when that second Saturday event comes into play.
There
People,
would probably need to be a little bit coordination with that, since Chief, I know his wheels are turning back there, that means you need security, which I believe.
yes, that was.
Larger events like that would require portalets, cause there's no restrooms there. So.
I did speak with, Mr. Scott, Scotty's Potties. I believe he's actually got some over at Patriot Park. We kind of talked out a deal, and he said, you know, if Freedom Park is approved, we can definitely bring 2 there and just see if that's enough. And he was gonna give it to us for half off as well. So that part is done. I figured we'd need somebody to direct traffic, depending on how big it gets, especially on those second Saturday events. I've got about 6 people right now who have volunteered to help however we need, so.
Hey.
So,
Hey, do we have something with the food trucks?
Normally
Some of our
charge them a
activities.
fee.
I think this needs to be
That one, yeah, the Saturday that she has the big event. then you
Yeah,
have
we
the-
probably need to have, you know, maybe have a workshop and talk about that particular
okay,
Saturday,
Okay.
that event.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, you know,
We
the
need,
farmer's market. so-
I'd like to have, chief input on some of the thoughts that he might have, that he would foresee
yeah,
for us.
direction, trafficking, absolutely. Cause I think the the front half of Freedom Park is not city owned, and so it would have to be
No.
inside the
They're
gates,
fixing to
if
start
that's right.
construction there,
Yeah,
so.
but-
Oh,
So,
okay.
and if I'm to understand, you're asking the city to do sponsorship for this
For
farmer's
the
market?
location, yes.
Just the location, or are you looking for our police department to be part of the traffic flow
If
and
they
things
could,
like that?
yes, ma'am, that
So
would
you're
be
asking
great.
for all of it?
Yes.
This needs to be the workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way
So I
we
said,
can work
because
out
I
all the
wouldn't-
details.
Yeah,
I
logistics.
I couldn't see having that without public safety involved.
Yeah, and it's not,
Okay.
it's not a vote right now anyway.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
It's not a vote.
It's something that the city has been trying to do itself, in years past, and we just couldn't get it to go. We had a location, it was too small, had some legalese problems, and parking was the issue too, but
yeah,
I'm glad
parking.
you're bringing this to the city and we can hopefully get everything worked out and get it going for you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, and I'm here to help however I want it to be, I want it to happen.
We do too. We do too. I think our citizens would enjoy that.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think it definitely needs to be a workshop because I see lots of problems in the startup costs that are listed. And we need to know what we're looking at as far as true dollars that the city's gonna put out in order to do something like this.
And how it coincides with what we already have scheduled at Freedom.
Right,
Right.
yep.
There'll be a couple of dates that will have to be.
4th of
dropped
July
for
is
other
a
events
big
that
one.
we already got
Yeah,
planned.
and then and of course, when the fair's in town, you know, that would be the rodeo
Yeah.
program.
So,
Yep, and the date is flexible, if Saturday is too big of a, inconvenience, not the right word, we can definitely move it. I haven't announced a date or a location, cause I was like, we gotta finalize some things on the back end before the public has that to look forward to. So, and I don't have any events or anything for the rest of the year. I figured it would take a little bit of time to work the logistics out, so.
Perfect.
sounds great.
When you put this together, was there a intention to do a 501c status?
In the beginning, I was not. It was going to be for-profit. I've been talking with, Richmond Hill and Statesboro, and they actually do carry nonprofit status just as a farmer's market. But a big reason why we wanted to work with, Coastal Green Space is because they do a lot of land management and conservation, and there's a big portion of sustainability in there. And I was really wanting to have that kind of tie into the educational booths, at the actual market. And so they are the ones that carry that nonprofit.
It's a lot of potential. I like it.
Okay, well, we'll get your contact stuff from Dulcia, and then we'll coordinate with, you and council for a date for the workshop.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
All right, new business number 3, vote to approve the variance filed by Tara Hunt to reduce the rear
Item
setback.
2.
No, we skipped
She's not
item
here.
2. We're not here, I'm sorry. Item 3, vote to approve variance filed by Tara Hunt to reduce the rear setback for a parcel located, West 9th Street on .435 acre lot. The parcel is owned by Tara Hunt and is zoned R2, single family duplex residential. So if you'll just state your name and your address.
Good evening, I'm Priscilla Wahlberg, the Associate Broker and Realtor Representative for Ms. Tara Hunt.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. We discussed it last week.
Motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Blackwell, I got a second by Ms. Riley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business, item number 5, Penholster Construction request approval of pay request number 4 in the amount of $24,784 for the Fort Howard Road Sidewalk Extension Project. One of the things, Doug, I'd like for you to speak on, guys, I know that we have a lot, these packets are very thick, but just remembering, when we have questions, when we get these on Wednesday, I think some of this was, for other jobs as well, and I'm gonna let Doug explain that. But 10% is always held back. So
Retain that's in there.
for things, so I just wanna put that out there, Doug, if you can kinda go from there.
No, Mr. Mayor, Council. Yes, if any of y'all ever have any questions when the agenda comes out, or y'all get anything from my office, please pick up the phone and call me. If there's a night that I'm not supposed to be at council and y'all want me here, I'll come and answer and address anything I need to explain. Yes, but like the mayor said, depending on the size of the project, some smaller projects, we hold 5% retainage, larger projects, we hold 10% retainage until about 50% of the project's done, and then it reduces to 5. But in this case, as you can see, this is for contracted work that was in the contract, and also for the additions for the improvements at Market Street, the handicap ramps, and the crosswalk improvements we did at Dasher. But if there's any questions, like I said, everything's done. Just after I was here at the 22nd meeting, Ms. Riley gave me the Mandy's name.
Yes.
I got with her that next week. 2 weeks later, I met her out there on a Saturday morning at 11:30. We went over it, talked about it. Last Thursday, I got back with her, or Thursday a week ago, she got back with me, said they wanted it replaced. I've got the contractor on schedule to do it this week or the first of next week.
Is
So,
that the section of sidewalk that's got that crack in it?
Yes.
There's one piece right before you
in
get
front
to
of
their
the
stop sign. He's gonna take the
That's
whole
the only
panel
thing I
out.
saw too yesterday when
And I just wanted to stress to her to make sure that her and her president and Mr. David Bishop, the treasurer, knew, and the residents, that there's a chance it may be discolored, it may look the same, it may take a couple of months to look the same, it may never look the same. But they wanted the crack gone, and we just wanted to make sure we were doing what they wanted, that's all.
Right. And then clarify that you're holding almost $10,000 in retainage for.
Correct, and once that is done, after every project, we, as you have seen on council, agendas, the last thing is for the contractor to request their retainage. And they can only do that after me and Tim, my inspector, we go, we walk it, we develop punch list items, we say fix this grassing, drainage, crack curb, signage, debris. We make sure that the city is willing to accept it 100% before we fully pay them.
Okay. Make a motion to pay that.
Second that.
Got a motion by Mr. Underwood, a second by Mr. Blackwell.
Mrs. Underwood.
Mrs. Underwood, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Did I say that? Oh. Sorry, thinking about Mr. Sun.
with that one.
All right, new business number 6, request to approve the bid by ME SAC Engineering to provide professional services for the FY 2022 ARPA project grant. Mr. SAC, you wanna come on up?
Sure, absolutely. Marcus Sack with MESAC Engineering. Good evening, the mayor and council. This project has been going on for some time now, probably prior than most of you coming on to city council. So this is actually our 3rd time submitting an RFP on this. We had to get some paperwork right for the ARPA grant folks. They wanna make sure everything's correct. So that's what we did. We'll have all that documentation now, assuming that you guys re-elect me to do the work, and everything will be moving forward. I am happy to report that we did get approval from EPD just last Friday on the plans and specs, which is a big deal for us. So now we'll be able to move into the bidding part and actually see some construction out there. So
Wow.
it has been moving along.
I'm so ready for that.
Yeah, it's overdue. As we talked about early on, you know, when all of these grants came out, we knew EPD was gonna be busy. I think the last number I saw in that email was 27 months delay on EPD's review of this project. So that did happen. What we expected to happen did happen. And here we are. So hopefully the grant administrators will give us additional time on all of these projects, because it is a statewide issue, and you know, there won't be any price to pay for that. So, as a refresher, I think you guys got around $8.1 million, and then they added another 10%, so we're at roughly $9 million total for this grant. Cost increases have occurred since the beginning, so we'll see where the money falls in when we bid it.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything you did, what you did to get that for us as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Do you have a guesstimation on when the bidding will be done, or?
Well, it'll take us about 30 days to get everything we need done before we start advertising. And then it's a 30-day bid, so we want it done by the end of this year, and we'll start construction early 2025.
And you know Tommy?
I know Tommy well, yes, ma'am.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we're all very excited about this. This is a big thing for the city. so-
Yeah.
Sure is.
Mayor, if I may-
Long time coming.
I'll second.
Got a
Thank
motion
you.
by Mr. Scott, got a second by Mr. Blackwell. I didn't say Miss Blackwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank y'all very much.
Yes, sir,
Thank you.
thank you. New business item number 7, vote to approve the 2024 millage rate for the city of Rankin.
Defeat zero.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Can't lower it no more.
Can't lower it
We can
anymore.
send a check, but I got a motion by Ms. Riley, second.
Mrs. Underwood.
Mrs. Underwood on the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 8, we removed, new business number 9, request approval to acknowledge the agreement between the Georgia Department of Revenue and the city of Rankin related to the procedures for enforcing penalties for school bus and school zone traffic violations. Chief?
Sir, only correction I have to that is this does not apply to school buses. We don't have that in the city.
Does not apply to school buses, just a school zone.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is an agreement, and I gave it to, Bobo last council meeting to review, but it was an agreement. It looked good. Sent to us by, Blue Line Solutions. It's a yearly renewal. I really just need a signature on it so we can continue what we're already doing.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley. I got a second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Delcia, if you will remember, I have got, somehow the Blue Line check got stuck in my mail. So I wanna make sure you
Okay.
get that before we leave tonight. I have it.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? What have been the fees we've gotten back from Blue Line fees, if that's
Come on
appropriate?
up, Pat.
My apologies. I
No,
was just
you're fine,
curious.
come on up.
Since you brought up Blue Line.
Yeah.
What have been the fees that the city has received from those infractions, if you know that?
I don't have a total on it, I can easily get a total on it for you, but we get a monthly check, and they've fluctuated between, the one that we just got was overflow from, the docket from last school year, like $1,900.
Yeah, the one I have, I think is $2,600, so they're right in that area.
That's it.
Mhm.
I think the highest I've seen was right when we started, about 4.
So slow down.
Yes.
Yes.
It's working.
All right, new business item number 10, adoption of revisions to the city personnel policy relating to probationary period, section 40.12 relating to political activity and funeral leave. Ms. Lewis, you talk about that? Or do you wanna, Ms. Jones, would you like to come up? Thank you.
So, you have the policy in front of you for all three. For the bereavement policy, you'll see they just made the change to, oops, hold on. Sorry, too many pages here. Make it bereavement leave, and they basically took out the hours, correct, Terry? That's correct. Yes. There's a restriction to 8 hours, and that doesn't work with the police department and fire department when they work, they do a shift, so.
Right.
So you just made it a day, which would cover any
Each.
of the timeframes for any of our departments.
Right. And then so far as the probationary period policy, we have, changed it from 1 year to 6 months. Of course, that could also be discretionary based on somebody's offer or whatever, but instead of doing 1 year, 6 months from here on out when people are hired.
I thought it's always been 6 months.
I thought it was too. That's what I've always heard since I've
Like
been.
lots of conversations
Yeah.
around.
It was never
This is the
officially
pro-
changed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't realize that until a question came
So
up
this is
about it.
just
with
something that
employee.
we
Yeah.
probably discussed with people, but we
And
didn't
then
really
never
have the
changed it.
actual.
Yes, so it was
Okay.
never put into effect.
If,
Makes sense.
hold on. Hang on. Okay, I'm good, go.
Okay. And then under the political activity, we just changed section C, to reflect no employee in the personnel system shall hold an elective office in state or federal government. If elected, the employee shall not be required to separate from city government services as long as that elected position does not adversely affect their job with the city.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Jones?
Can I ask you this, because just reading over this, I was scanning all of it, holidays. Did we not change, because we added, Good Friday this past year, and I didn't see it listed.
We'll be we've got other policies that are gonna be coming forward, probably at each meeting kind of going forward as we continue to update the policy manual, you'll see additional.
I just didn't see Good Friday on there, so I was just curious.
She just attached the wrong section to that, but Good Friday is officially a holiday. Y'all-
We did adopt that.
I'm just trying to look out for you, Dulcie.
Yes, ma'am, it was approved.
Anybody else? Got a motion?
Second.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. Blackwell, I got a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business, item 11, request approval of a sketch plan and funding for Veterans Park. Ms. Lewis, you wanna talk about that?
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Alright, it's gonna go up there in a second, it did this earlier,
Well,
so-
and guys, you know, this is important that we're doing this. This is gonna be a congregating area for residents of our city. It's gonna be a place where we can hold different events, especially holiday events. So I know there's been a lot of people that's worked really hard on this and getting this park where it needs to be, so,
We're gonna have a tree lighting.
And, yep, we have a tree lighting, and Miss Riley requested a tree that you can see in Springfield. And I was definitely seconding that, because I wanna see the biggest tree we can possibly get there,
She
and I
has-
think
it's
she
40
got it.
feet. It's
I
40
have a
feet.
problem.
Nobody will know the police department is back here.
From the ground to the top of the stars, 40 feet.
That's right.
Also,
It's gonna be great.
this is Veterans Park, and we, the monument that's out there will be at one end. And then Peggy Cowan, her family is donating a bronze sculpture for the other half, the other side. And then we will be selling bricks, if you wanna buy a brick and for a family member. There's already some over there now, but we'll be doing that again, and we will get, the fees and where you go, to purchase one, and we're getting that all together, but we gotta get this approved, but we're very, very excited. This is gonna be beautiful.
So this sketch,
That's,
Can
you
you
got
have
this
that one?
sketch, the pretty one?
that's what
Yeah.
I just asked.
There it is. There we go.
And so in order to have a tree lighting, somebody's gotta get busy on this part.
Yes.
So, and just so you know, that when we all met, we said we wanted the vibe of a Savannah Square, and that it's, you know, nice, and there's gonna be 8, really nice oak trees. There's gonna be 49 other tree type plantings, with that huge green space, and Brandy's 40-foot tree out by the highway. I think we have to call it Brandy's tree.
Well, and it's really gonna be a beautiful focal point for our city.
There's picnic tables, green spaces for the kids to run. You know, Christmas time's gonna be fantastic with Santa sleigh and.
Right, so we did get a lot of feedback from the community when we took down the old park that was in front of the library. A lot of people were upset about that. We had a plan, this is our plan. We did give the children playground new, improved playground equipment out by the YMCA, and then this is something that is multi-use, not just for the kids, but for the adults as well, and a place where we can do some community events. That was the plan.
Kind of a little city center.
Yeah.
So, that being said, what do we need? We need to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Make a motion.
Do we need to discuss the amount of the funding? I mean, that
Right
wasn't
now, it's just a
listed.
sketch plan and funding for veterans.
It says and funding, so.
Yeah. I
So
think
the
we
initial
discussed.
quotes,
Yeah.
It's what, 357,000,
Mhm.
so,
I think
And
we,
this all comes from Splash, right? So, we just want people to know that your extra penny is going to good, so.
yes.
Yep.
it says and funding, Terry, y'all wanna address that, or do we need to,
Sorry.
y'all wanna address that and funding?
Well, so Dulcia and I talked about the best way to put it on the agenda, because there is a chance, we weren't positive if it was coming from SPOS or if you were going to, obligate funds from the reserve fund. So we felt like it was better, cause we know that this needs to move along, that we need to get this started if we're going to have everything complete and ready for, the tree lighting. So
So
that's
we
why
just need to
we
agree
didn't
to
wanna kind of
Yeah.
land ourselves in an area where we,
Right. So if we agree to the funding, you guys are gonna take it from the appropriate place.
yes, and if we
go on
need
to-
to come back and make a budget amendment, then that would come back to council.
Okay.
And I think we really need to direct it from this Marsh one, and we need to label it, we need to have those signs that.
Yeah, and not the little signs,
Yeah.
you know,
Penny
something.
at
Your T-Splosh dollars at work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So if it comes from
Good idea.
T-Splosh, we need to put that sign in front of the
And
front
I do
as
think that,
construction happens.
I heard someone say that we were gonna put a drawing out there.
Something similar to
Yeah.
this,
Yeah,
so
that
that
was on a
the
larger
community.
scale.
We need this out by the road.
Right, we just want,
Well,
we have to
and
wait till
you'll-
y'all
we'll
approve
give
this.
her a
So I make a motion to approve this sketch plan and funding for Veterans Park.
Second.
Alright, I got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Ms. Taylor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? She got you under her
Just
breath,
one?
I heard
That's
that.
fine. I just wanted to breathe.
Right. So, new business item number 12 is first reading on a vote to approve an ordinance to amend chapter 82, utility billing, adoption to amend said ordinance to update the dates and increase the reconnection fee. You wanna speak on that, Ms. Jones?
Yes. Basically, it was not updated in here for the fee amount being $25, it's currently $35. And we're gonna look at that again here soon and probably bring that to y'all's attention, so we just wanted to take the dollar amount out of the policy period. And then they would like, after dealing with the server issues and software issues and things we've been dealing with, change the actual utility date from the 15th to the 30th for the due date. And that'll help us with our billing cycles much better.
So I do have a question about this policy. My policy is feedback from people in the community who truly do not understand a disconnection fee when we don't actually go out and disconnect the service. Their water never gets shut off, but they get charged a fee.
Well,
There's some confusion there.
Right, and we're looking at really revamping this entire policy to match how we are currently doing things. We are trying to get on a schedule with the girls up front to make that more consistent and once
So
a month
currently it says
disconnections.
all over this policy, disconnection, disconnection, disconnection. It doesn't say it's a late fee, it says it's a disconnection. And I feel like that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, cause it is, it's unclear. And
Right.
people have questions why we're charging a disconnection fee when we did not actually ride the truck out and disconnect the water.
I gotcha.
Since it has to have 2 readings, can we go ahead and make that change and
As well.
we'll bring that forward when it comes
For
for second
sure.
reading on the
Yes.
9th?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it should be fine.
I make a motion.
Got a motion by Ms. Underwood? Got a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Y'all bring that
Okay.
back to your,
Yes.
Consideration to engage Leaphead Consulting to provide CID consulting work for the city of Rankin. Ms. Lewis?
Okay, give me just a second.
You go ahead, take your time.
And I'll provide some brief brief background, if that's okay. Ben Perkins and I reached out to Lighthead Consulting, they're based. Yes. I don't think they'd mind, whatever we pronounce it as, as long as we pay our bills. But they are very experienced in this space, very knowledgeable. They've worked with various entities, both in Atlanta, but also close to where we are. And they quoted us usually they work on a monthly retainer, but they said as they're helping with this project, given its unique stage, they would quote us $250 an hour, which is a reasonable rate. Once we figure out where we are with them, they can then go to their normal standard billing, but that seemed like a reasonable way to get Rincon up to speed, get the services we need, and get this instituted and rolling to the city's satisfaction.
And
I
this
would've said exactly that,
includes
just not
coming
as
up,
good.
and this includes coming up with our CID area, right?
Yes, that'll be a part of their
That'll be a
advice
part of all
services.
of it, okay.
I mean, really, they could do as much as we ask.
Right.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions, concerns?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second. Got a motion by Ms. Taylor. I got a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 14, new business, request approval to authorize a payment of up to $52,000 to clear the areas along either side of the cart paths. Mr. Joe, you want to come up and speak on that? I know you were tasked with getting council some.
I got two more estimates for y'all, and I'd like to explain them. This is the first one. The two numbers are the two different machines that was included with the 52,000, and with this company, it would be about 72,000.
Okay.
I got another quote, came in today. It's only one small track code machine, so I don't believe it'll be as good of a job as the two machines would do, but this is a quote for them. And see, it's a lot less, but I don't feel like it would be as good of a job as we need.
So you feel like we're not gonna get what we need out of this?
That's right. The machine he has, he says about 6-inch trees. I believe we need to even take out larger ones than that to
6
really.
inches in diameter?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not a really big tree.
No, that's
It's not
not,
a very
that's not
detailed-
big at all.
It's not a very detailed quote either.
No,
Yeah,
and
no, he
I took him
put a
around the same
timeline
as I
on it.
did the other ones, and
Yeah.
he kinda put that together pretty quick, I believe.
So
I
do you
had,
have questions?
I have one question, because I've seen a lot of, just a lot of people that had concerns about how far 10-foot, 10-foot actually in some areas
Right.
gets into people's property. So-
Well, it won't be anywhere close to houses. The 10
Right.
feet will be where a lot of holes have ditches, so it'll be
Yes.
down to the ditch.
Yep.
Like 11 and 12 mainly.
Yeah.
That's where the larger areas will do is back in the woods.
Well, and that's what I explained, I
Yeah.
explained that, but.
Where
we'll make
there's
sure-
houses, there's a lot of places we won't even touch.
Yeah,
It'll
it's
just
already
be like
cleared.
bush hogged later,
Yep.
and that's what I'm looking for.
Is there a plan of like where you're planning on doing it? I've seen a lot of things about people wondering what that plan is.
It's on both sides of the course,
On the
where
cart path.
needed, 10 foot deep is how far they'll go back, so,
Will it be marked? Cause there's a couple people ask me, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could mark it as it goes around, just, because I'm gonna be marking heads as.
I think that would be helpful to
Yeah.
kind of ease.
so people know,
Ease
that's what they were
people's mind.
saying to me, Patrick, was that they didn't want them to get into their backyard.
That's right.
And so, I made sure that I had asked Joe about that already, and,
Yeah.
and we were definitely not getting into, people's yards or their property, cause that's another thing, a lot of people have their yard, they have a fence, and then they own 4 or 5 feet outside of that
That's right.
fence, and they don't want that stuff chopped down, so, Joe's aware of that.
Yeah.
And, we'll make sure that stuff's marked by hole as they go.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
What about around the spillway at the T-box on 15?
That's somewhere where I would like to go in a little bit further on both sides of spillways, just to clear it out and make sure it's flowing really
That way,
good.
if you,
And then, like the ditches also, we'll be able to walk down to the ditches and make sure they're cleared out and everything.
yeah,
from
because
now on.
the trees are grown right up to the spillway, the golf course path.
That's right.
Basically on that one. So,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
The,
I got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Ms. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, well,
Thank y'all.
Have fun,
Thank you,
thank you,
Joe.
Joe, don't, you gonna hang around for administrative, right?
I am.
All right, good. All right, Ms. Lewis, you wanna,
Jody's doing city manager.
oh,
this week.
man, look at that.
Oh, let's
Come on,
go.
Jody.
Okay, so, making sure everybody is aware of our workshop dates coming up. September 4th, we're gonna do the zipper track, Patriots Park, master plan, and Miss Rita from Macomber, discuss the pad, bathrooms, all that kind of stuff. And then on September 16th, we have the, EDA, Economic Development Authority workshop. And on October 1st, we are going to discuss the comp study.
I
And that's-
didn't hear the last thing you said, I'm sorry.
October 1st, we're gonna discuss the compensation study plan. The library meeting is with the county, if you didn't all know, on September 19th at 10:30. Say one.
When is that again?
September 19th at 10:30.
Okay.
Say one did receive their temporary CO last week.
Right.
I'm not sure if you all saw that Brant Herndon did send out, that the Sharpleys were good with the access road to McCall.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Whitney, she's starting to work on our budget and schedule, department head meetings with each department to try to start planning for that, and hopes to have that the last meeting in November.
Right.
Yep.
So,
For you guys.
real quick while you're there, Ms. Jones, can you make sure that we get with Mr. Herndon and let's get a groundbreaking, let's, while we got momentum, let's go ahead and have that groundbreaking, and obviously I know EMC will be looking to start getting bids out for that, and so we need to get that out, and also with all the problems that we've had, obviously with Omnitrax and Bro, this would give us an opportunity for some unity there.
Yes.
I think they've made the right decisions here, and we can capitalize off of that, and they'll be a partner.
Okay. As y'all know, they did receive the deposit, and the Christmas decorations have been ordered, and the containers as well, so.
Good.
We should get that soon, if you're excited about your tree. We had a meeting with the rec department, and they did start the process with claying the fields. They need about 24 to 26 loads, and I believe they said 12 should be delivered today and 12 tomorrow. So that's getting started as well. But that's all I have. Did you have anything else to add, Terry? No? Okay. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
Just to add a little bit to what Jody just said, yes, everybody is on board, and we now have access to the property for big fences. The utility locates have been done, all the aerial control has been put in for the aerial survey to happen. The wetlands and the geotech, all of that will happen within the next 2 weeks.
Man.
So once we have that, we can develop a plan and start getting some bids. We can start getting bids before we get the environmental with the Corps and everything, but, that was the big thing. We needed access to the property, and Brant reached out to us after, the letter was sent, and everything's moving in the right direction.
So they felt really good about the, Terry, about the letter that we sent, talking about the zoning,
Yes,
rezoning of the
yes, I
area.
gave that to Brant, and they didn't ask for any changes to it.
Great, that's great.
And we also, like she said, me and, Mr. Coleman with ACC met with her and Terry and two of the staff, and went over to bring them up to date on where we are with the Macomber improvement projects. Project B, which is the vertical, the fences and all that. We're gonna add some things to it. We're gonna meet back out there maybe one day this week. I'll talk with Mr. Coleman and we'll line something up for some things that we talked about with them that we may wanna add to it while we've got people out there. But everything's going along good. All the pole barns to go over the batting cages are being made and starting to be ordered delivered this week. And he's got almost all the perimeter fencing up except on field 4. Well, used to be field 4, maybe field 1 now.
Yeah.
But no, that's moving along. And they gave me a date that I can give Scott Penholster with Penco, because he's doing Project A, the storm drainage and the concrete in between the concession stand and the batting cages, or the dugouts between all 4 fields. So once soccer's over, which is around the 1st of November, I think we said, Mr. Penholster will move in and he'll do the stuff in the middle, concrete and drainage, and he has all the way until April to get, he won't take it till April, we won't let him take that long, but we have to have it done by the end of March, 1st of April.
And what is
for ball.
Project B?
Project B is the vertical. It's all the fencing. It's the perimeter fencing. We kept all the existing poles, and they've already been done. The dugouts have been done. We're waiting on the split face block.
Right.
It's being made now for the backstop, behind the backstop, and then we're gonna build a block wall that's 30 inches tall, I believe.
And the fence is
And
going
then
on top.
new fence. The fence is gonna go through the wall.
Perfect.
Just like at the other park, except we got beams over there, we'll have the poles, but,
So you-
they'll be in the middle.
I thought I heard you mention additions. What are those?
The additions.
Didn't you
Oh,
just say?
like
something?
the, like concession stand
Oh,
and.
there's some things we talked about with them while we were out there, like the entry fence. There's some of the fencing that was not in the specs that Jonathan gave us. It was primarily just for the ball fields.
Uh-huh.
When you're walking in from the parking lot, you got a fence there.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have all nice new,
Right.
black,
We need to
new
close it
fence.
Yeah.
We might replace that section, the section over between fields 4 and.
So these are items that have not yet been quoted and we're looking.
Correct, it's
up
new
the
stuff that
approved
was,
amount.
and we may wanna, to secure the park off, you may want, cause those are 4-foot fences. We're putting in, 6 and 8-foot fences.
Right.
We may wanna add some gates with some locks, so y'all can secure the park from the back. If you have tournaments and you want a gate at the front, gate at the back, and don't want people to come, just little things like that we talked about. That yellow top cap that's out there, it's been out there for years. It don't
So will
even
those
look yellow now.
additions come back before council for approval to add more money to that budget?
Whenever we meet with them to find out what the items are, Mr. Coleman with ACC will give a bid back to Terry and Jody, and she can provide it to y'all, or he can give it to me and I can provide it to everybody.
Yeah, and that also, didn't that include the, we had talked about a metal gate, you know, just a swing gate to keep people from driving around, you know, when you
Yes.
talk about that, so cars can't get to the back of the park. So I know there was a swing gate and a couple ballards, and I'm not so sure why it didn't get added. I think there was a bunch of confusion during that time. But I know that we discussed every bit of that, securing the park, securing the parking lot, all those things were discussed. I remember us walking into the concession stand, we talked about concession stand stuff. I mean, there was a lot of, you know, it was just a lot going on.
And I didn't know a lot about that, but Mr. Coleman talked about that when we met last Friday, because he had already given some bids to Jonathan on some of that stuff. But what I got is what I gave them, what we bid, that Project B sheet, that had to do primarily with all the vertical construction for the field-related items.
And we pulled A out just because of timing. That's why we split.
We delayed A, yeah,
Yeah.
because it had to come after. He can't do his work until the split face block wall behind home plate is done. He'll
And then they
pay
have to
right up
come
to
up
it,
to
and
it.
the new fence had to be done, he'll pay right up to it. The other projects that we're currently working on is the sidewalks at the golf course. We're working with Joe and Tara on the cart paths. And we are working at Patriot Park for bathrooms and removing grinder pumps on 4th, Williams, Tyler, Ron, and Warren Street. All the surveying has been done and utility locates have been done on all projects. Surveying has been done and completed on all projects except William Street. That's the one that's gonna take the longest. I told them to do the other 3 first so we could get them going, knock them out. I'm waiting to finish up Patriot Park. I'm waiting to find out from y'all's architect the maximum number of people that will be allowed in that building. Because I looked at, and I was gonna give something to Terry after here, but she gave me a picture of what y'all were proposing, and it just gave me the number of toilets. I have to have a number of people to be able to properly size the pump if I'm gonna locate this thing to serve the playground, the tennis court, and possibly the new building across the street.
Well, and I think that was just a conceptual drawing of that library, Michelle, and the library committee in Savannah actually, Live Oak actually pulled that out.
And it doesn't matter, I was just, what y'all are thinking, based on that space, Mr. Shea ought to be able to tell you
It
based on.
wasn't, what I'm just saying, is it wasn't a detailed thing. I think
Right,
it
no,
was
it had
just
plenty of detail, and I counted the number of toilets in it, but when I go to my books that I get things from, it's based on the number of people per day and a certain flow. So I just wanna size the pump station, properly so that if they do wanna tie into it, they can. That's all.
Yeah, go ahead and get enough capacity for the
Right.
library too.
Yeah.
And also to see if it will work, cause there's only a 3-inch force main from right there at the Manor House that the YMCA ties into, which is they have a private grinder pump back there by the pool. They have a grinder pump station, not a pump station, they have a grinder pump with 1.25 inch force main that manifolds in there. And then we'll probably take a 2-inch and tie into the 3-inch that ties into an 8-inch. So, yeah, it's just a process. I just need to know how big the pump needs to be and see if the force main's big enough to handle it. That's all.
If it's not, then we'll have to replace the force main line.
Oh, you ain't replacing that force main. You'll have to figure out how to pump it down past Wiley's and down Shaw or somewhere to a gravity manhole.
Until we can get to the 8-inch line.
Yeah, that's the main, that's the main one that goes out to the old Heritage track out there. That's a big force main. And we're working on Lost Plantation, and we finished surveying 3 additional areas that, me and Joe and Tara talked about. Drainage area behind hole 17, green. An area behind the clubhouse to possibly have more kart parking, tournaments, that kind of stuff, and to have more kart parking at the, driving range. We've surveyed all them areas. I just gotta draw that up and get him to look at it this week. And once I have those 3 items, I've already met with him with everything about the course. If there's any other drainage issues, I told him to let me know. We could add them to it, or we could just kind of see as we go. As they start tearing card out, maybe there's a drainage problem that we didn't know.
Right.
He's identified one that I don't think we need to survey, cause it's just one hole. But, yeah, after I get him to approve the layouts for the additional concrete behind the clubhouse, the drainage issue, everything was surveyed except that person was not home. My surveyor didn't wanna go in his yard and survey that in.
Where
Behind 17 Green.
Yes.
Green. So, once I make contact with him, we have a plan to fix that. I found the old drainage plans, I know where it goes, so that's about it. And the only other thing, all the sidewalk projects are wrapping up. The only thing we're lacking on Highway 21 is the striping at the post office and the striping in front of Crystal. That should be done here, I would hope in the next week or 2. And 9th Street, we are just waiting on that last easement, from that one holdout at the apartments.
Okay.
Other than that, the project's finished.
And what about the 7th Street? Still working on.
So,
You got some contact.
thanks to Mr. Scott, I've got another signature, so Tasha Robinson came in and signed it, and then I was gonna get with you after the meeting. I have one person, he has 3 or 4 properties, so it'll be big if we can get him to agree, Mr. Mungian. He has one concern about how far one of the lines is going.
And, you made contact with the owners of the property in Florida.
Which one?
The owners of the property in Florida.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we're getting closer on that.
Yes, cause Mr. Mungian has, like I said, he's got 4 or 5, so if we can get him feeling good about the one, I feel like that, that'll get us even closer, and then we'll maybe be down to just 2, so.
Great.
Doug, is the during, when we had all that rain, Seventh Street ditches are flooding really bad, and it looks like there's no fall on those ditches at all.
Which side?
Seventh Street, Howard Avenue area, Levi Capone
Seventh
Street.
Howard.
We've got some areas.
They gotta be cleaned
I think
out.
we need to get Tim there. We've got one that drains off Carolina, that takes all that water back to the creek. Well, it's so stopped up till when all that rain sunk, it created a fountain shooting in the air because they're stopped up. We've got one, across from Sherwood, we've got to do some serious work there because of the lateral lane cross. I think because of some work that the gentleman did to his, ditches, created a problem there for that whole area.
On the Stoke side or the Sherwood side?
It's on this,
It's on the Sherwood side?
no, but not Sherwood side,
It's on the Stoke side? Yeah, okay.
And did you ever find out about, I'm changing the whole subject.
No, it's not on my list, but I did. I should, I need to, I know, I was talking about. It's not on my list, but I did. I got an email back and she requested, something showing the route. So I sent her the 9th Street sidewalks, showing the route on 9th Street. And I haven't heard back from her and I haven't followed up. She wanted, cause she just said, I need to know kinda where I'm doing this so I can locate the lamppost. So
Okay,
I'll follow up on that.
thank you.
DOT works kinda.
I like self-reporting. That's always good to do. Thank you,
I
Mr.
mean, I
Morgan.
don't, just,
If we could just read Doug and Michelle's mind, we'd be.
Yeah,
Cause I don't think we even know what they're talking about yet.
he did,
He knew exactly what she was
Yeah.
talking about.
Lamppost down 9th Street.
yeah.
and 21, okay.
I've already got the style that she said y'all can have.
Okay.
And I think she can figure it out down 9th Street, but I gave her the State Route 21 plans as well for sidewalks. So she's got the
Awesome.
surveys of both and I just hadn't followed up.
Okay,
I will.
thank you.
Doug, I wanted to ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
And you can think about this, but, you know, there's a lot of people, I know you can't answer every one of these things that gets put on Facebook, but, you know, we've had a lot of people say, oh, well, in my DOT career, you know, putting that banister down the side in front of where Truist is and all that, people get impaled in that and it's dangerous and different things like that. That was a requirement, correct?
That was a DOT requirement, and that's an aluminum handrail, it's a DOT detail, stainless steel fittings, and it's primarily made not to keep people from falling in the road, or from falling off the ditch. If we'd have had a lot larger area and didn't have that frontage road in front of Huddle House and the bank, and we could put a little shoulder and 4 to 1 down, very gradual, we wouldn't have that handrail.
We wouldn't have the
Just
handrail.
because the ditch is right there.
Yeah.
And there's no room to have a recoverable slope behind that, so.
And then, you know, of course, the sidewalk's only 20 inches off of the highway, but if you go anywhere else in the city, it's 20, 30 inches off the highway. So it's not, you know.
And that's a DOT thing also, they like that, I don't, that little grass strip just causes Tim to have to go out there and cut it, and,
Yes.
I like it right up on the curb, but DOT likes a little 2-foot gap.
It's just hard to get people
We do what they
realize
want.
a lot of stuff is not
It's their road.
regulated by us.
Right.
It's
Right.
DOT.
Yeah.
Yes, their road, we have to follow their road.
Yeah.
We
State
just can't go
roads,
out because we want to go out there.
All right.
Thank you, Doug.
Yep.
Y'all.
Chief Marl?
Cracking more and more every time I stand up.
I heard it.
Heard it?
Wait till next year.
It's not even there yet, still already cracking. I've submitted a written report. I'm still waiting to hear back from DOT for the signage along 21 on the,
Trucks in the right.
trucks, yes, yes, sir. I did follow up with them last week, they said they're still working on it, waiting to hear back. We have a new hire on board, Peyton Gregg, came to us from Savannah. He's got extensive, knowledge and background in drones, owns his own drone company, operated them for City of Savannah, for the police department, but I think it's a good asset to have, at least that knowledge on the department. And, how you like the TVs?
I love it.
They're gorgeous.
Now if we can get our transparency portal up there, would be great.
Yep.
Next meeting.
That's the next meeting. No, there's no pressure.
That's for our IT guy.
Yes, that's right.
What do you guys have for me?
Let's go back to Blue Line. Since school has started, I know you haven't had too many reports, or do you get day-to-day, numbers on what's going on in the school zone?
We get those numbers as, monthly.
So we'll get August and then we'll get a September and October.
You should get a lot about 247 when we're trying to pull out, because all the cars speed up, so
Trying to
you
beat
can't
you.
get out on traffic. I'm thinking you fixing to get a ticket,
They probably are, early in the school year too, they probably are. But yes, sir, I should have one for you next month.
Next month, okay. Yeah, it won't be, we won't have just August, cause we had a few days where they didn't run school.
You should, I'm still learning this also.
Yeah.
I believe we should get an August check,
Okay.
and report. And I believe that should be in before the first meeting, of September, so.
Good.
Chief, I had a lady approach me at church that, she said that the semi trucks speeding down 21, especially from the Vidop to 9th Street, she said it's scary. And I know that we had some, I think Dr. Bill Gammon came by and filed a report, cause he's been complaining about semi trucks, so,
I stopped one on my way home the other day,
so.
pulled up to 4 Howard and 21, went and turned left on 4 Howard, and I bet the light was green for 3 seconds before he just, like he never hit the brakes, just barreled right on through the light. I mean, we're addressing it as we see it.
And I told him that, I told him y'all on top of things.
Give me a gun, give me your radar gun.
Say radar
Oh,
gun.
yeah, I was about to
Say
say,
radar
you gotta
gun.
say
You need to learn how to, say radar.
Radar. Don't even
Next
say
time you
anything else.
Radar
Don't even
gun.
attach it. Just say radar.
Turn you loose with no gun.
Radar gun. I'll stand out there.
Next report, I wish it was.
Yeah. And guys, you know, all joking aside, please keep, Chief Merle, his family in your prayers. Just a tough time and as a city and as elected officials, we need to support Chief Merle 100% because he has always given 100% to us. So, you know, during this time, I think, you know, he's got a great group of people working for him that he has got in place, and he needs to take as much time as he possibly can to spend in his situation.
Amen.
And I voiced that to Chief Merle this afternoon, and I would hope that would be one voice from everybody here.
Yes.
And we thank you for
Thank you,
everything.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
You put us up there.
Chief Reed?
Hey, it's college football season.
Yes,
It is.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
No.
There's a caveat to that. Now that I'm a UGA graduate, I have to, I'm part of the Dog Nation, so I'm a house divided.
In your, like internally divided?
Yeah, I'm a house divided.
Roll Tide.
We'll have the fire department over here watching football, their TVs.
No, we have an 85-incher.
Oh,
go.
okay.
We might go over there.
Devin Warren has come on board with us. He's worked 5 shifts now. He leaves for the academy on the 5th of September. He will be gone for 10 weeks. He will come back completely certified. We start our community resource reduction and daycare outreach on the 29th of this month. Brianna Durrance, who owns the new daycare on Town Park Loop, we will be doing all her career staff CPR, first aid, live fire extinguisher training for them at cost of just the CPR cards and everything. So we're moving up in the world, we're growing, and we're just trying to put ourselves out there into the community.
Perfect.
So now all the daycares can come to us and get their recertifications and everything. All the career staff for all the daycares can come to us for their recertification training. So, other than that, I submitted my report.
Have you heard any more on the, ambulance, spot over here next to Dollar General?
Ooh, I have.
You have? All right.
No, just they called at the end of last week to just say they're gonna do some minor site improvements, and then most of what they're gonna be doing is, cosmetic, inside, so we're gonna work with them on what they have to get from us.
They're gonna do some cosmetic work on the house so that it's functional, and then they'll put two, where the garage is at, they'll put two big metal buildings for the ambulances to park in. So, looks like they got a plan and they're getting ahead of schedule, so.
Oh, perfect. And also, I just wanna let you guys know, I did reach out from our last meeting that we had with the county, and I talked to, Commissioner Kiefer about, this is his area as well, about attending, every month or maybe every 2 months, attending our council meeting, so that, he can come up and tell us a little bit about what's going on in the county, what the county has going, and answer some questions there.
Yeah.
So, just kind of unifying with those guys and building a relationship, so, stuff like this can get talked about.
Yeah, it's really good. We have 3 more that start EMT school September the 16th, so that will, everybody in the Rankin Fire Department will either be an EMT or a paramedic. Working towards our BLS engine company licenses to up our game in the city for our customers, on things that we can and can do. So, we're just moving ahead, we're working diligently.
Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am?
All right, and I know you know about this, and we brought it up at the city-county dinner. And I was gonna sit down, and I guess I still can sit on email, but I brought up the fact that the warehouse across from Blandford and that backs up to Lowe's possibly is storing polyvinyl chloride pellets.
They are a polychloride vinyl fertilizer. They bring the pellets in and they fill them full of fertilizer, and then they send them out.
Which is highly flammable.
Rail car, yes.
I know that someone did some research and there's some concern about the pellets. And that, and being aware of the fact that when a lot of these trains come in, a lot of these trucks come in, they have to sanitize, put anything else in. Somebody was asking the other day, are they rinsing any of that over there that could get into our storm systems? And then people are starting to ask questions about plans in place should something happen, because if something really bad happened over there, could you tell us about?
They have an
storm
oil
water?
water separator when they wash their trucks out, so that doesn't happen into the sanitary sewer system. Clint and I have talked at length of what we would do if something happened at that facility. And of course, as fertilizer, once it ignites, it creates a bomb. We've all seen it, Oklahoma City bombing diesel fuel and fertilizer.
And polyvinyl chloride is West Palestine, Ohio.
Correct. So, we did not know what was going in there when it first was built. We knew the Bissell warehouse was going in there, the vacuum cleaner company. However, this came into effect, and then we went, how are you putting this across from a school? And there's been no oversight on,
So just a guess, if something bad happened there, what's the radius you'd have to evacuate?
I'm evacuating at least a square mile.
And that backs up to the most populated area in Rankin.
And to the school.
And to the school, so, and I'm just saying it out loud because people are asking questions and we all need to be aware of it, and we need to.
And then that's where we do a good fire safety, plan, like the Cold River Storage. They are gonna be one of the safest plants that there are today, with their anhydrous ammonia and things of that nature. But allowing you having some say over what goes in these warehouses is us being involved in a process,
And that's what we talked about at dinner, that we need continuity in our codes that don't allow these things, so.
Do we have an emergency plan on paper for specifically geared toward that facility on
No,
paper?
it's not our facility
I
anymore.
understand, but it is our responsibility in the city. We
Sure,
should
I can
probably
make
have a
one.
plan of action.
I can make one.
Yep, thank you,
Mhm.
Lou.
All right.
Yeah, you're right, because it's gonna, it really just
We need
impacts
to-
us.
We'll be
It
second in.
impacts us.
We'll be second in because it is within the 5 mile radius of, so,
Okay.
yeah, I can build one. It's
I
not a
just-
problem.
I wouldn't wanna be caught off guard and people say, well, what do we do, because we've never dealt with
No,
it
that's your,
before.
that's your
Correct.
back, that's your back porch.
Yeah.
right there.
I know.
That's correct. I can make one and we can publish it.
I would say not renewing the license and letting this one rest.
I mean, if it's, I won't be here if it happens. I'm just saying, it is literally in my backyard.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I didn't think about that, it is.
Yeah, she just wants a plan to make sure everybody
Yeah,
down from
just
her.
so maybe you could recover.
Don't go out the emergency
I
access
was
road.
just thinking
Yeah,
the
don't
emergency
go out the
exit,
emergency
I'll go
exit
that
road.
way.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Building and zoning?
All right, so I have good news. Our comp plan update has already been accepted by the Department of Community Affairs. So we thought that was gonna take a little bit longer. They have 45 days, but they've already accepted it. Which means instead of waiting till October to put it on the agenda, we're gonna put it on the next September agenda, and that will be done. So, I mean, there's a lot to do inside of it, but the actual update and adoption of that will be done. We're also on our other big project, the UDO, Unified Development Ordinance. We're gonna be bringing our final 4 chapters to the Planning and Zoning Board in September, and then those will come to council as well. Then we'll bring forward the overlay districts and then some little cleanups and additions and things like that that we found. So hopefully we'll still be on track to finish that by the end of the year. At your next meeting, we'll be bringing the Blue Jay Road rezoning and then 3 site plans that, the board considered at their August meeting. And then we're still working to get a code enforcement officer on board. We've had some interviews. We have, one person that's from a little further away that we've been trying to coordinate with, but hopefully sometime in September we'll have somebody on board there.
Perfect. Yeah, I was contacted by Nick, with the HOA picket fences where we had done the drive-through. And, he was just asking, you remember some of those, derelict vehicles and different things like that we seen when we were going through there. He was just kinda asking me, hey, do you guys have a plan on maybe going out, issuing some warnings? I said, well, since we talked, we're in the process now of hiring a new guy. And he said, well, will he get that information? And I said, yeah, they'll make sure that he gets that information and, heads up.
Yes, we've got, so David, our building inspector, when we have something that's pretty, fairly urgent, we're asking him to go deal with it, but anything else we're just keeping track of, and then as soon as we get a new code enforcement officer on board, we'll, provide them with that and get back to work on all of those.
And I was just wondering if I know we talked last time about, Warrington or the New Hickory Knob, that area, if we could, do our next, walkthrough on
Yes.
that side.
Yes, we can definitely get that scheduled. And then the only thing I was gonna add, not building and zoning related, but, Tim Bowles wasn't able to be here tonight, but he has been actively working to get ditches, cleared, on the 9th Street side and then through picket fences as well, so.
They've cleared 4th Street
So,
curve and have done an excellent job.
So yeah, so they're continuing to work on that. We'll obviously pass on the one that we heard about today, on 9th Street on the Stoke side, but yeah, they're definitely doing those
Yeah.
projects.
And I think the key to that is putting it on a schedule so that, we get it all cleaned out this time and then there's gonna be a next time that we come back through and it won't be as much work, so. Yeah, hopefully he can get it on a maintenance schedule and we can, I know now it's kinda knee jerk, let's get everything that's clogged, but.
But once we get everything, you're right, once we get everything and we have it on the schedule, and if we get a facilities management person also, which I'm gonna pass that out later, then we will, then it can just,
We have it
it can stay
scheduled.
on top of it, and hopefully they won't get to the point where they were.
Absolutely.
Well, it still is hurricane season,
so.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
And I'd like to share that Bill and Helen Ward, who live on Marion, across from Tim and Lisa, he reached out to me and said that he had a huge limb fall off a tree, in his yard that was fell across the road. And he said Michael brought a crew out, one of Tim's crews, said they were so professional, not just the most pleasant young men. He said you never heard a foul word, they worked quickly, they were very attentive to his yard, and because I kept telling him, go ahead and do what you gotta do, but they didn't wanna mess up his grass. He said he was so impressed with how well they did. And I let Terry and them know to make sure they knew, but I want y'all to know just the good job those people were doing out there the last few weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna move to, Matt, our IT guy. New IT.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Matt Crookshank, new IT director. So lots of busy stuff the first couple of weeks here. As everybody probably knows, the main management software for the city crashed, and my first day was called in
Boy, that was a
the day
test.
after it crashed.
Yeah.
That has been rebuilt, or it's been patched together. The problem was it ran out of space completely. So I added hard drives to it, created enough space, 4 times more space than what it had before. We got the data restored for the most part. There was 1 or 2 days where there was a few things that had to be manually re-entered. There was a lot of apologizing from the good staff that was taking care of the citizens, but everything's been running smoothly since then, or at least I haven't heard any complaints about it. There were some internet issues after Tropical Storm Debbie came through and dumped all the rain, mainly Comcast, and their cable across the street on 108 on the pole, along with the underground that came into the main office, and Comcast came out and replaced it, and it's been much better since then. Another one is PCI compliance, which is what allows us to take payments and cards and stuff. That expired also last week. And I've been working with them. There's like a 30-page questionnaire that has to be filled out, and then they do a physical audit and a penetration test on our network. The questionnaire and audit is finished. The penetration test found a couple of vulnerabilities. As I looked at those vulnerabilities, I filed a claim for false positives on it. And then while we were justifying the false positive claims, I did find some other vulnerabilities that have been fixed. And this may result in another scam. Good news is, while we're in the process, we're not gonna get fined for being out of compliance, because we're in the process. And then the approved installation of the Windstream stuff, I've been checking with them, and I've got all the information they've requested to them. They have completed some of the engineering, especially to the recreation department. And construction on that part should be beginning soon. They're finishing up the engineering on the rest of the network. I did, just a forewarning for you guys, we're gonna have to come for an amendment to that contract, because nobody thought about what we're gonna do about the phones at every place other than recreation. So otherwise we'll be keeping both systems, and that would be crazy.
Makes sense.
So that'll be coming up to you. And other than that, I am reviewing piles of contracts and invoices and bills and seeing where else we can save some money.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Good to have
It's
you on board,
refreshing.
Matt.
It is,
Good to have
my
you on
goodness.
board.
Thank you. appreciate the candy too.
The chocolate?
Yeah.
So Matt, you did some patches and things like that. Are you developing a plan for 6 months, a year from now, what we need to do to upgrade our systems to be?
Yes, ma'am. We have talked to Tyler, and have gotten, initial pricing on moving the system to the cloud. All of the hardware and operating systems have reached end of life.
Yes.
And all of it needs to be upgraded. Tyler itself is 4 servers, 1 physical server and 3 virtual servers. That's gonna be a huge deal. So that's why we asked for the pricing for the cloud. One of the servers has to be upgraded. It cannot go on the cloud, and that's our domain controller. So I'm getting pricing on that, seeing what hardware is capable of handling what software, and that'll be presented probably at the next meeting. Okay?
Well, to me, I'm not very techno, but shouldn't we be like way ahead, have unlimited storage, which I know the cloud will, but I don't care what it costs. That's important. So we need to get that straight.
I agree. We should
You
be.
should have seen it before, way before. Everything was in a small closet. And it was crazy. So.
Yeah, it's still crazy, but it's gonna get better. It's fixable. It went a little farther than it should have, like 8 years.
So these hard drives that you added is gonna give us plenty of space to get us to that cloud.
Yes, sir. It was a very relatively inexpensive fix to get it all up and running and give us the ability to get that moved into the
But
cloud.
it's not sustainable like that. We have to.
Yeah,
move forward.
no, the server itself is just not gonna last, so.
Right.
So Matt, when you bring that back to us as far as, I'd kinda like to see a timeline for when we would be moving that forward, not just I need this much money to go do this thing. I'd like to see if you're doing it in stages, what those timelines look like.
Yes, ma'am, no problem.
So moving to
She's an
Windstream,
IT girl.
Matt, will that, if we move all our servicing phone lines and connections, internet to Windstream, do they have the speeds and the upload and download speeds and the bandwidth to handle what we need?
I asked myself those same questions when I saw that, the contract. I have a good bit of experience with Windstream here in Effingham County. And I gotta choose my words here.
I'll say it, I don't think they do.
said it.
I'll say it.
I think we both said it.
It's a
There-
bad call, and I thought we had already made the decision not to go down that road.
Their plant,
I had a bad experience.
and equipment here in, Rankin and Springfield is 40 years old.
Yep.
And,
That's what I was working on.
and just falling apart, and I've experienced the outages, crazy outages all the time.
So we
when
may
I
need
worked
to
at the
back
county.
up and look at that again, because we did look at it with, the previous city manager and determined that, and that might be why Windstream and Comcast was in play, I'm not sure.
Brandy, didn't you
We
tell
talked
him
about
to
Clearwave
make sure we
Fiber.
didn't you say, make sure we have an out?
I did.
I think, yeah.
The contracts themselves, make sure we have an out to the
Based on his
contracts, don't sign
experience.
anything, all of those instructions.
Based on
were
his
given.
experience,
There.
why don't we let him go out and look at and see what, and make a recommendation, that's his department. He needs to know and recommend what's gonna be the best thing for him to work with, to provide the service that we need.
I agree.
Okay,
The
so-
problem was a contract signed by the previous city manager.
Oh, it was
And
already a contract.
I'm asking,
Yes,
Oh.
there was.
that's what I
Did we-
thought.
That's the
Is there an
So-
out in that contract?
There is, verbiage in the contracts that say, we can get out of the contract, we can cancel the contract up to the point, before they actually order circuits, okay? So we're still in the engineering stage, so, and I've been looking very hard, and I've talked to other providers. to get some pricing for it. And, also talked to the Windstream folks so I could see the same presentations that the folks before me got to see. And this was with knowing what we have to work with here in Rankin and Springfield for Windstream. And they assured me that their infrastructure for this fiber type product actually doesn't touch those plants. It's all of its brand spanking new fast stuff. So I had my same issues with Comcast. I did get a quote from Comcast and looked at that, and it's not very inclusive, and I'm still working with them on getting more details on it. But my concern with Comcast was the same thing. The coax cable has issues. I mean, we have issues with it every day.
So I ended up going down the Clearwave fiber route, cause
Okay.
they just ran the Clearwave to several locations here in Rankin.
Right.
And then my backup for the rare event that is down is Comcast.
Okay. I also talked to Planners, who is on the edge of Rankin everywhere. People are like,
They are, but you
Okay.
know what? For whatever reason, when I lived out in Guyton, Planners was the best.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
the best.
I live in
If you got
Guyton.
one of those phones that do like this.
Judge me. Judge me.
I mean, I live in
Yeah.
Guyton and I love my Planners. And I know what they've done at the edge for the county, at the edges of it, so, but it's also really expensive, and, I mean, really, really expensive. And with the other options we've got, I kinda, as much as I love them.
So the issue with Clearwave was, you could pick up this building, the fire department, probably City Hall, but you're not gonna get the rate.
Can't pick the rate.
Right. Clearwave.
That's the issue, Clearwave.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
not,
it's
they're
out.
not.
Is it out down your road?
Yeah, they've got the boxes right out there by my house.
Well, if
We
that's-
might be able to go back to them and see if they pulled.
I'll
They're
call
far enough to
Clearwave
pick
and
up.
see what they've got. It's not too late at this point.
Clearwave
So,
would be great.
Now, on top of that, recreation's in a tough spot.
It is.
But Windstream's doing the engineering and proceeding with that. It's like, I mean, it's fine. They're not even close to ordering a circuit. We're talking a couple, 3 months away. In the meantime, with their existing internet that they have, I've ordered parts to build wireless bridges out to the 2 concession stands. And it was like a couple $100.
Yeah,
Good.
So.
easy.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay.
And
appreciate it.
we did, what about the security cameras that we discussed that we're already paying for? Were we able to get
The Arlo cameras?
Yes,
Okay, I did give them the information on the $50 solar panels
yes.
that they could use to charge them as they sit.
You
and
gave that
film.
to Shannon.
I gave that to
but-
Shannon.
Okay, Shannon she wouldn't know what to do with that anyway. We need to order this. So we have Arlo cameras. I don't know if you're aware, we're already paying for them. They're on
Right.
our bill. We can't get out of that contract.
Right.
A solar panel can be purchased for $50 per camera. We need to do that, and then someone needs to install that.
Okay,
Matt.
all right.
Matt, do you install that or do you hire contractors to come in and do that?
It depends. For the most part, I install them. If,
That's gonna give us
You know,
some security cameras at
I'm-
the conference.
Yeah, cause we don't have that.
I'm pushing it in age, so falling off a roof is probably not the healthiest thing I could do,
You
so.
don't need to be climbing on roofs.
Just-
Matt doesn't need to be on roofs.
Yeah, for situations like that, I'll hire one of the folks.
Okay.
There's like several folks that do
Okay.
that around here, so.
Right.
Huh? Tommy, wastewater?
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tim?
Mr. Milner, come up, state your name and your address.
Hi, Tim Milner, 312 Marion Road, and welcome aboard.
Well, thank you, sir.
A couple things, Clearwave, I made that switch to Clearwave, and they have been phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
In about a year, I've had maybe 5 outages, and the longest, it was about 3 hours. So,
And you got notified of it.
yes, and they have a nice app that does all that. But the reason that I'm up here now is down at the golf course, going into the clubhouse, Xfinity, and this might be something, as you're talking about language, they have been notified numerous times to come out and bury that cable.
It's still, yeah, it's still.
It is a hazard, and when I pick it up to move it, it knocks it out every single time to the clubhouse and whoever else is using internet back there. There's
Just the
braiding.
cable?
It's the main cable that feeds the internet
It's
back
just
to.
laying in the ditch.
It's just hanging out?
It's laying, no, it's not even a ditch, it's laying, you can literally pick it up and move it out to the road.
Yeah, you can.
It's been there since I've been there, and there's one down Winnipeg the same way. just
So,
like this.
Winnipeg-
There's one in my
That's what I
neighborhood
heard
laying in
too.
the rain too.
Up on the corner of Marion and Walltower, it took them from August of last year to, I believe, May or June of this year to
Yeah.
finally bury the cable, and they did a very poor job of doing it, and there's also one on my bus route over in your neck of the woods.
Right.
Same thing, it's still out in the open.
So
So my question is, as we're talking about getting out of agreements, is service part of, and that might be something to look at, is escaping out of a clause? Hey, they've been notified numerous times. This cable at the clubhouse, it's a hazard. One, all we need is for someone to trip on it. The other thing, the braids are very sharp. And there's a grounding wire that coincides with that I literally just twisted back together and it turned it back on their service. So just my input on that, it's very
Do we
dangerous.
have service contracts in the city with these?
Yeah,
Yeah, they have to,
Utilities.
they're supposed to bury it
Somebody
in.
has signed a contract.
well, we had
Yeah.
To come in here and do all this, so it's like,
Yeah, Clearway came right out and buried it.
We pay lots of money to Comcast every single month at different buildings throughout the city.
but like, if, say
There
like.
is a contract.
That, for the city, so we can talk about that, but I'll tell you something else Brandy might know, is the man stopped me coming out of City Hall today. He said his daughter lives just going into picket fences, and says there's been a line hanging from the poles that's hanging almost down to her driveway, and they can't find who it belongs to, can't get anybody to come fix it, he goes, and I'm at my wit's end.
well, a tree took one down
Have you
between
seen
us
that?
and our neighbors. It was there for a year. And I called them and said if they didn't get it put back up, I was gonna go around to every neighbor and, get them to change from Comcast because of that reason. And then I told him I was gonna cut it. And then you'll see a lot of people mad, because when I cut my grass, how can I ran over it by accident,
My
cause it was
smart
on my
mouth
grass.
was initially gonna say, well, let's just go cut it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Somebody fix it.
Tommy,
It'll get
Mary.
fixed then.
Yeah.
let's move forward. We're going in, we
Go
all
ahead, I'm
got
at the
the cable
cable.
over here.
Yeah,
Come on, Tommy.
You're about to have some new changes coming here in the next 6 months or so, I guess.
You know, I was gonna say that I didn't have one of the things on my, monthly report, but Marcus stole my thunder.
They took it from
He
you.
took it.
Took it, he took it.
But man, it is good news.
Yes,
It
it
is
is.
absolutely good news that we get to move forward. It's, the plant is, about at its max. I didn't, through the storm, we did better than I thought it was gonna do. None of the clarifiers booked, thought everything was contained in the plant. And it seemed 1.3 million one day. So, and it's a 1,000,000 gallon a day plant. Our max average weekly flow is 1.5, so we're still under that for a week. You know, we haven't violated the permit yet, but wow, it was fun going through the storm with the plant being at the capacity that it is. I didn't, the new plant can't come soon enough.
Yes.
The other thing that didn't make the report was, the golf course meter is out again.
Again.
After the storm, it, thankfully, all of the, components of the meter that we replaced last time, all of that's still good. It's just the transmitter that has went out again, and it was under warranty, so it's fantastic. However, still have to, go take pictures to quantify the, anyway, we're getting it fixed.
Okay.
You guys have any questions?
I think Marcus answered them all.
thank you.
Joe?
just texted me, said she wasn't feeling well. Have a couple things, I have the list for you for the building and everything, the improvements that you asked for.
Okay.
The only thing I really have is I've been, we have two rough mowers, one pull behind that we use with the tractor, and we had an old zero turn Skag mower. And the Skag mower's been nothing but issues since I started. We've put belts on it, welded bearings on it, everything. I got with Tim, they had an old, other zero turn, and we tried to use it, and it wouldn't even run. We put a battery in it, and it would crank up, but then run hot after we mowed for about 20 minutes. So I am looking at buying a zero turn. I need approval for it. The one I found was $6,000 down at the Exmark place in Springfield. But that's all I really have for y'all.
So that's something that you'll need to get with Terry.
I will, but that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Council, y'all have anything?
I did, but it's gone.
Do you have a need for executive session?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right, thank y'all for coming. Oh, I make a motion for executive session, sorry.
Got a motion by Ms. Taylor, got a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes, sir.
Is the group going?
Order me some. Yeah, that's yellow.
I don't have anything to say. Won't shake your, stood up to shake your hand?